I want you to imagine this. You're a young man or a young woman, very young, in your early 20s. There's an opportunity for skilled workers in the United Kingdom. And your friend or your relatives tells you, hey, you know what? Come over. I can help you get settled. And this is your opportunity to get off on a good start in life. You decide to raise that money to buy that ticket. Sometimes you'd have to sell everything that you have in order for you to raise that money for the ticket. In fact, you leave everything that you were doing. Perhaps maybe you had a job. You leave all that behind. You get on that plane. As soon as you land in the UK, that person or that relative that told you that they were going to help you, all of a sudden they switch off their phone. And all those things you were discussing beforehand are pretty much gone. You're left, you're stuck and confused. Because remember, you're a young man or a young woman. It's very confusing because the concept of life that you grew up with and what is happening it's almost like a dream, a nightmare. Why am I giving this example? I'm giving this example because it happens and it has happened. So you come into the country, you start working, you're getting settled, you're getting up and running, you're sorting out everything to make sure everything is running okay. And guess what? Your own people, the same Zimbabweans, same identity, same skin color, they would try and get you deported. Your own people. Sometimes you even get better treatment from the natives than from your own people. For some of you that came in the early 20s, in the 2001, 2002, 2003, I'm sure you can relate to what I'm talking about. I'm sure you can relate to that. Your own people. The reason why I'm saying all this is because I believe that there is something in us, Zimbabweans. And that something is, I said some of us. I know some of you have comprehension issues. You're going to take this and say, why are you generalizing and saying all Zimbabweans are like this? I said some, because I haven't interviewed every single Zimbabwean. I'm saying some Zimbabweans have this spirit of destruction. They don't want to see anything good in anyone. So they have this spirit of the devil running in their veins. Every time they see something nice, they want to destroy. And these people can be relatives, they can be friends, they can be your brothers, they can be anyone. They have that spirit inside them. So I want you to take note of that because this is very, very important. That spirit, I'm always going to refer to it as we're speaking. So you'll find that maybe, you're a young woman, you're working very hard. Perhaps you get married, but do you know who's going to destroy you? Your own brother. Do you know who's going to destroy you? Your own sister. To a point where they'll make up stories to make sure that that marriage breaks. Your own neighbor, because now you're progressing, you've bought a car, they will start saying hurtful things because they feel like you're getting ahead of them. Again, that spirit, that devil spirit, that person has that devil spirit. Because I believe there's two forces here. There's a force of good and a force of evil. So anyone that is going to make someone else's life difficult or horrible is definitely from the bad side. From the bad side. That's where they're from. So team bad side. And these people are everywhere. I make these videos because what I went through in life was tough. I was very naive in life. I did not think that people, even your own relatives, could turn on you like that. Because I had a good view of so many people. I never thought people could do that craziness. So sometimes when I make these videos here, and my intention, I'm sure a lot of people will see it. My intention is to make sure that no one goes through what I went through if I can. Because it was a very, very difficult journey. Some of you take it for granted. I hear you even in the comments here saying, oh, you went to the UK, so that's why you're able to do what you want to do. That's a lie. Because there are so many people in the UK. I want to start with the Zimbabweans. There are so many Zimbabweans. I didn't say all of them. There's so many Zimbabweans who have come here, but are struggling. In that same diaspora that you're saying, oh, you made it because of the diaspora. No, it's because of a combination of things. Sacrifice, the willing to learn, discipline, and the power to execute the plans. Without these things, you can't succeed. So you'll find that with the guys I went to school with, some of them are doing very well in Zimbabwe. They've never set foot in the diaspora. So there are some of you who try to inject this negative, devilish energy in something that is supposed to be positive. And how do they do that? By discouraging people to do what is right. I will never, ever tell someone in his 40s to sell his house in Zimbabwe, come over here and get a mortgage, which is going to be paid off when that person is 70. If you are going to be giving someone that type of advice, that is evil. Because in the diaspora here, we know how work is. We know it's tough. So you want someone sell their house in Zimbabwe in their 40s and come and get a mortgage here. Come on. Surely that is not coming from a good heart. It's not coming from a good place. So a lot of what people say is to distract people from what? From achieving positivity and achieving what is good. So you have to be very careful where you take your advice from. You have to be very, very careful who you listen to, because not everyone wants the best of you. Not everyone wants the best of you. People will say, aha, Zimbabwe is like this, that, all these negative things, because they don't want you to go there and succeed. Those of us who are open-minded, who've been in Zimbabwe, we sit there and we say, okay, here are the tough things in Zimbabwe. The roads are bad. The education system to a degree is bad. The health system is bad. So you're either one of two people. You look at that situation and say, okay, you know what? Why don't I try and do something in those sectors? Because these are opportunities. These are the opportunities. You get there and you realize, oh my goodness, why are we buying imported chickens? Why can't I go into that sector? You are now acknowledging that there are problems, and then you are the one who provides the solution. So that's the guy who's on the positive side. The guy who's on the negative side, the devilish guy, do you know what he'll do? You'll say, Zimbabwe is full of potholes. Zimbabwe is full of this. Zimbabwe is that. Even if they hear that one person was mugged or was stabbed, they make it seem like the whole country is like that. Yet, they live, I'm giving an example of the UK here because I'm here. If you look at the stats of knife crime, in certain areas, I'm not saying the whole of the UK is like that. I'm saying in certain areas, the knife crime is crazy. But they won't talk about that. They are living in this country, paycheck to paycheck, in debt. They won't say anything about it. Actually, they'll support it. They'll start saying things like, yeah, good debt. Debt is very good. You know why? Because their mentality and their attitude towards life is just the fancy things. There is no idea of, okay, I want to leave a legacy. Because no one who is going to be showing off with the fancy car, a fancy phone, fancy suits, is going to leave a legacy. You're going to die and die with all those things. But what have you left everybody else around you? Nothing. So when I put these videos out, I'm trying to speak to people who want to have a legacy. People who are smart enough to say, you know what? I don't have to retire at 67. I can retire at 50. Because I've got this in place, that in place, this in place. Those are the people that I'm trying to reach and say, look, there's two types of people. There are people who want good for you, and there's people who want evil for you. That is why I started this video talking about what happens to me and what happened in the Zimbabwean community. Someone can literally just hate you. You haven't done anything to them. They can just hate you. And they want to pull you down. And I want to give this as my personal example. I've never come here and said I was doing very well and I'm a millionaire. All I do is document my stuff. Okay. As a matter of fact, my plan was to be in Zimbabwe by now. My plan was by now, Musha investments should have been started. That's my plan. But the reality is it hasn't started because there's a few stumbling blocks. In fact, I'll talk about that in another video, right? So people look at that and then they use that as an attack. You went to Zimbabwe, things didn't work out, therefore you're back in the UK. So you're telling people this, that. There are some people who are financially better off than me, who can see what I'm trying to do, recognize where Ruwa Organic made a mistake there. Actually, because of what he said, I'm going to fix things here and there so I don't make his mistakes, but still continue with my relocation plan. That is how smart people think. Smart people think like that. Oh, Ruwa Organic went there. He started off with 1,000 chickens. No. Bad move. He doesn't have any farming experience. He doesn't have any, the proper team around him. He was just going solo, just from YouTube. Wrong. He made a mistake. He admitted that he made a mistake. So you know what? I want to fix that. I want to start off now with a team of people who know what they're doing because I have the money. Those are the people who are going to benefit from my videos. The second type of people who are not going to benefit from my videos are people who are going to discourage people that have the capacity to go home and do something. And that is what you'll find in these comments. Just the other day, I put a video yesterday, I think. People were talking about Zimbabwe has a debt of 16 billion. But, okay, that person failed to tell you that the UK's debt is in trillions, making it seem like Zimbabwe is so bad, 16 billion. And yet, the UK, just the household debt, just the household debt, 2 trillion, UK. And that money has to come from somewhere. That money has to come from somewhere. But these people won't tell you that. They'll tell you that because they want to paint Zimbabwe as a bad country and discourage everybody else from what? From progressing. And this comes also from a bad part, because some people know they have made a mistake. That mortgage that they thought was good is actually strangling them. They made a mistake. But you know what? They're 10 years in. There are people like that. They'll justify and then want everyone to follow them so that you drown together. So you have to be very careful of those people. They want you to drown together. They'll encourage you. No. Mortgage is very good. It's very, very good. But I'm trying to say, on the other hand, if you have 50,000 cash, pounds, to put down on a mortgage, just sit down and rethink. No, I'm not saying do this or do that. I'm just saying just think. Just think about it. Take your time out and just think before you just rush, because Zimbabweans have a very good way of following others. And this now is a fact. And I think I mentioned it on my other video. When people say combis are making money, everyone starts buying combis. When people say, you know what, mortgages, everyone goes into mortgages. I remember there was a time before the financial crash, there were companies that were giving mortgages to people who did not qualify on paper. And some of those guys, I know them. They gave up those houses because they had to do double shifts for them to be able to pay that mortgage. But they gave it away. But they wanted to be known as what? As, I'm on the property ladder. No, you're just buying a product. You're just buying a product. That's what you're doing. A mortgage is a product of the bank. Just like you buy any other product. It's a product of the bank, which you're required to pay over a certain period of time with interest. That's all it is. It doesn't make you any better or any smarter than anybody else. No. But we've convinced ourselves that, if you have a mortgage, you've made it. You have a new car, you've made it. And if you take a picture of yourself in front of that house and that car, which both don't actually belong to you because they can be repossessed, society sees you as, wow, look at that person. They're making it. They're really good. Contrast to that, you have 5 massive chicken runs in your Sabuku deal or even on your farm. People look at you like, farming, forget that. No one even looks at you. But in reality, who is able to build a legacy there? Obviously, it's the guy that has an opportunity to bring in money every 6 weeks. And if done well, even thousands. And I'm not saying this just to promote chickens, by the way. I'm saying this because it could be anything. Maybe you've got 5 buses. If you have 5 buses and every time you're on the road, sometimes you're even helping the mechanic fix it, and you take a picture, people look at you and say, this is like a diaspora. Do you see what I mean? That's the mentality that we have. So we have that, and then people pushing the negative narrative to make sure that you all struggle. So the point of this video is, not everyone amongst us is what? Is positive and wants the good for you. No. Just remember of these 2 spirits. There is the spirit of good and wanting people to progress and succeed, and there's also another spirit of destruction. And you don't have to do something wrong to that person for them to destroy you. No. No. The fact that you are just trying to do something positive can land you with so many people who are going to be against you. It can be even your mother. That's how bad it is. All your relatives. It can be like that. So there are certain things that we don't talk about. The traumas of leaving home, leaving Zimbabwe, and then coming to the West, and then living here for 10 years without seeing your relatives, without seeing your siblings. Sometimes maybe even a parent passes on and you can't even go to the funeral. That trauma is crazy. A lot of people are carrying this on our shoulders. A lot. And yet we want to say to anyone who even has the potential of making money in Zimbabwe, no, go to the diaspora. Sometimes they're telling you, go. Because they know once you get there, they're the same people who start laughing at you. Because it's not easy. Now, am I saying every single situation is like that in the diaspora? No. Because I know some of you are going to start commenting and saying, oh, you're stopping people from coming to the diaspora. You're advising people this. No. With some people, it's different. Some people can come over here, work their way up, and end up in a very high position. Maybe in the NHS. I've got a few friends who are in that position. Earning decent money, earning good money. There are some people who come over here as engineers. They work, they do their thing, and they're doing well as engineers. But for the vast majority, sometimes I actually feel sorry for a lot of people. So personally now, when I say, you know what, I would like to do something in Zimbabwe, it's because I've tasted both worlds. Yes, Zimbabwe is not perfect, and neither is the UK. But for those that can, all I'm saying is consider. Look at both sides. Weigh out your situation and then do it. Don't just listen to people who are going to tell you that, oh, you know what, the UK is all that. Sometimes there are people, and I'm not saying this to put anyone down. There are some people who grew up in areas where there was no running water, right? They grew up in a place where, in an area, maybe in a high density, where things were very bad. If you take that person and you put them in England, do you think they're going to have anything positive to say about Zimbabwe? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I'm not saying every single person is like that. No. Because that person, when they grew up, they never owned a car. So owning a car here in the UK, oh my goodness, that is heaven for them. That is heaven for them. So there are people like that. And they're also there in the comments box. There are also people, when they were growing up, even having bread was a big deal. Having meat was a big deal. Come over to the UK, you go into Tesco, you go into Morrison's, there's meat everywhere. Now they can afford it. Do you think that person is going to say, you know what, Zimbabwe is good? No, they have traumas because of how they grew up. Serious traumas. So this is why I'm saying, be careful where you get your advice from. What I say about Zimbabwe, how positive it is, it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. Because you have to have the right tools for you to be able to do what I'm talking about. Your mindset, your money, your qualifications, and most of all, your determination. People I know look at me because I document my stuff. I put it out there. They look at me and say, you know what, you need some intervention from spirit mediums. But you know what? I know so many farmers who have failed so many times and lost money way more than what I have lost. But they're still trying to make it work. And now everything is working fine. So again, I consult a lot of people behind the scenes. I talk to a lot of people. Hey, what do you think I should do here, 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 here? No. You messed up here. You messed up. Fix this, fix that, fix this. And you know what? Once you do that, you should be up and running. I fix those things, and then I realize there's another blind spot that I didn't even look at. Now I have to fix that blind spot. But you know what? You've lost 40, 50, 60,000 already in that journey. Some people can't take that. For them, it's too much. So we are different in that way. People are different in that manner. Not everyone is the same. Not everyone can thrive by living in England, because even the locals here, if you think majority of people in England are rich, think about it. A lot of people will live paycheck to paycheck, paycheck to paycheck. Even net worth, if you want to, because that's how you calculate wealth. Do you think majority of people in the UK has a positive net worth? Do you really think that? A positive net worth and a good cash flow. Do you honestly think that? So in Zimbabwe, it's different. If you own your house and you have some cash coming in some way, somehow, even if it's $50 a day, it's a lot of money in Zimbabwe because it goes a long way. You don't have things like council tax. You don't have things like crazy inheritance tax where your house, if it's worth a certain amount, the government, when you pass on, takes half of it. No. Zimbabwe, you can actually go to the rural areas and relax there with the set of solar panels and internet and live a quiet life. Can you do that in the UK? Can you do that in the UK? No, you can't. So be careful where you get your advice from. Be careful about the messages sometimes you see in the comments and everywhere, because not everyone has a good heart. Not everyone has wants you to be successful, because I know that people can be very, very evil, even amongst us, same color, same skin, same mother, same father, and so on. So that's all I wanted to say in this video. Thank you.